Are you prepared to retire? Are you prepared to retire early? There's a movement in the financial community that is catching a lot of attention to younger generations. It's called FIRE, and that's spelled FIRE, and it means financial independence, retire early. The general idea of FIRE is to live below what you could theoretically afford so that you can maximize retirement savings and leave the workforce as soon as possible. So then, the question becomes, how much money would it really take for you to retire, say, as early as 55 years old? What if you want to retire at 45 years or even at 35 years? What would it take? Let's take a look. I'm going to show you three charts, and they're from howmuch.net. And Go Banking Rates collected the information from a few different sources. The researchers started by figuring out the annual cost of living expenditures for people at 35, 45, and 55 years old. Then they adjusted the cost of living on a state-by-state basis using data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics 2017 Consumer Expenditure Survey and the Missouri Economic Research and Information Center. They divided each state's annual expenditures by 0.04, which is the rate at which savers were assumed to draw down their accounts each year. And the result is a total savings figure for each state. So this chart here is how much money, savings, is needed to retire by 35 years old. In Oklahoma, it's 1.5 million. Texas, 1.58 million. Florida, 1.71 million. And in California, it's 2.37 million. Now, this is a savings per person. So if you're married, you're going to need double. Now let's go to the next chart. And so this second chart here is how much savings is needed to retire by 45 years old. And there are a few things to keep in mind about the data behind howmuch.net maps. The figures presume a flat 4% withdrawal each year regardless of what the market does. There's also no adjustment for inflation, and there's no flexibility to change the withdrawal rate from year to year. Another assumption is that the cost of living will stay constant. Well, maybe that's not all that reasonable, but this is basically a relatively simple chart. And if you look at it, the South is cheaper than the Northeast and the West Coast, making it particularly attractive for retirees on a fixed income looking for warmer climates. Mississippi is the most affordable state in the country for all ages of retirees, while Hawaii is the most expensive. Let's go to the next chart. And this last chart here shows how much money is needed to retire by 55 years old. Mississippi at 1.4 million is the lowest, and again Hawaii at 3.07 million is the highest. But an interesting thing happens to the upper Midwestern states for older savers. From Wisconsin stretching west to Idaho, a number of the states fall below 1.6 million for early retirees aged 55, but not for 45 or 35-year-olds. This means it gets relatively easier to retire the older you get in these states, both because you'll have more time to save money, but also you'll need a smaller nest egg to live comfortably. For me, I'm going to be looking to exceed the number for my state. And if you stick with me, I promise you that I will help you do the best you can to exceed the number for your state. So stick with me and subscribe. And for today, that's ChewDog Charts. Thank you.